Hello, everybody. I'll give it a few minutes here, and before I actually start here. Okay, I'll go ahead and start here. If anybody has any questions or comments, you can put it in the comments section, and I'll get to them. The first image I want to start off with is an image I took in 2006 from White Sands, or what was then White Sands National Monument, but it's now White Sands National Park. And this is actually, you can see the mountains in the background with this wood kind of framing or the shot there. And then the next image is fireworks from Missouri Southern State University on July 4th. It was actually a few years ago, but you can see kind of the trees in the foreground there. And that year, I actually kind of got up fairly close and was able to get them from the right angle and everything. And the next image is Grand Falls Waterfalls in Joplin, Missouri. It's the largest continuous waterfall in Missouri. And sometimes it'll look like this, but sometimes it might be a little less water flow, or sometimes even more, depending on rainfall. But usually there's fairly decent amount of water going over the falls. And this was actually early in the morning. It's actually a composite of multiple images to give proper exposure for foreground to background. And this is a river otter at Wildcat Glades in Joplin. This was actually back in October last year. Actually went there and was not expecting to see otters that day, but here they were in the park, and I was able to get a few different shots of them. And this one is a yellow-crowned night heron. This was also at Wildcat Glades as well. and they actually are more of a summer resident than here in Missouri. So they'll usually migrate out in the fall, and then but they come back in the spring again. And this is a orchard oriole. Again, kind of more of a summer resident. And this was also at Wildcat Glades. Just happened to see him up in the tree. And they're a little bit smaller than Baltimore Oriole, but the males are kind of similar to the male Baltimore Oriole, except for they're a little bit more of a rusty brown as to the bright orange. And this is actually a picture of the full moon with Bradford pear flowers blooming in the foreground. And this was, of course, in the springtime, I think about a year or two ago. I just had to capture with the moon kind of framed with the flowers there. And then this is a picture of downtown Kansas City. This is actually taken from the Liberty Memorial National War I Museum, and it's really neat museum and really neat to see. If you're in Kansas City, it's definitely worth going to see. And but that was a nice place to visit. And this is fireworks at Grand Lake in Oklahoma. And you can see the reflection in the foreground there from the fireworks over the lake. And this, of course, was in July as well, a few years ago. And then this is a picture of elk at Lone Elk Park in St. Louis. And we're just outside of St. Louis in St. Louis County. And just was kind of sitting in there. It was a fall a few years ago. You can see a male with antlers there. And this is a picture of Tenny Creek Rural Falls. This is kind of falls below the main waterfall. This is in Bella Vista, Arkansas. A really nice place to visit, and they got some trails along there, and nice place to go and take a walk. And this cabin that's along the creek in Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. And this was in the springtime. You can actually see the flowers there in the tree there. And this is Prairie State Park in Missouri, Southwest Missouri. This is actually an infrared picture. You can actually see how it's basically kind of like a black and white, but with the instead of the dark being light, with the dark being light and the light being dark, like a normal black and white picture. That's why you kind of get the white foliage in it. This was taken with an infrared filter, and so Yeah, one thing with the infrared, it does take with the infrared filter, it does take a long time for exposures. And this picture of Xenia, and this was actually taken Springfield Botanical Gardens, one of their parks up there. And this is back to Tenure Creek waterfall. This is the main waterfall. This was an early morning, and you can see the sun rays coming through, kind of highlighting the waterfall in waves, or shining down the waterfall almost. And this is Sandy Creek Covered Bridge, just outside of St. Louis. And it's one of four original covered bridges that are still in Missouri. The other three are in the northeastern part of Missouri. You can actually go, it's a nice little park. You can actually walk across the bridge and that, see the construction of the bridge and that. And then this is Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You can actually see kind of almost in the smoke, because this was taken back in 2016, right about the time of the wildfires that were in the area. This particular picture was actually taken a few days before fires actually threatened Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. This was actually taken on a walking bridge, and kind of looking down the creek. And then this is a picture right at the same time of overlooking Gatlinburg from one of the mountains in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And you can actually see the over here in the actually, I'll zoom in. You can actually see like almost like their version of the Space Needle right there. And here's another picture of the falls. This is from a different angle. It was a cloudy winter morning, actually. And a close-up of some Bradford pear flowers. And then we got the Pristinian warbler. It's a little bird that migrates through here as a summer resident here in Missouri. The yellow is really hard to describe because it's so bright. It's almost like a glowing dark yellow almost. And especially when you see them in the sunlight. And this is Watkins Woolen Mill and State Park up near Kansas City, Missouri, or actually northeast of Kansas City. This was actually the day of the eclipse. I was actually at that park to photograph the eclipse. And this park was actually also in a movie, some parts of a movie, Ride with the Devil, a Civil War film, was actually filmed at the park. And this is Onondaga Caves and State Park in central part of Missouri. This is kind of looking towards the main entrance there, and you can see the all the cave formations and everything. And this another picture from a different part of the cave. You can again see more of the formations. You can also see the reflection in the water down below and that. And this is another infrared picture. This really kind of shows how the infrared can really show like the difference between the lights and darks that they, as opposed to a normal black and white image. You see like the foliage is white, and this is again another picture from Granite Falls. This actually kind of down below and down a little further. And this is a great blue heron at Wildcat Glades, kind of crouching down. It was basically getting ready to go after some fish or something. And they're actually more of a year-round residents here in Missouri. So we usually will see them kind of in the winter time too as well. And then this is the cabin at George Washington Carver National Monument in Diamond, Missouri. It's actually a replica cabin. You can actually go inside. The National Monument is really nice place to go. Nice trails, a great place to view birds and that. And then this is a lilac blooming in the springtime with a yellow swallowtail. And this is a Rainbow Bridge on Route 66 in southeast Kansas. And it's basically closed off to vehicle traffic now, but you can walk across it. That was taken early in the morning. And then I got an infrared photograph of the falls. This is kind of another angle again. And then we have a ruby-throated hummingbird. Of course, another summer resident. And this is a Reddings Mill Bridge. This is basically part of like the Wildcat Glades Park in Joplin. And these are a pair of Mississippi kites. They're a type of raptor. They feast on insects and things like that. And this was actually at Center Creek Park in Carl Junction, Missouri. And just happened to see some of them in the trees kind of and flying around in that. It's actually another one of one of the Mississippi kites. This is actually a close-up or more close-up. And you can kind of see more as features in that. And then the river otter from earlier. It's them kind of looking right towards me. Actually, I think this one was actually a different day than the previous than that, but so it was actually a couple months later. But and these are some recent pictures from Wildcat Glades, the water lilies blooming. And then the yellow-crowned night heron that was there at Wildcat. It was actually pretty close to me. I didn't realize he was even that close. And then a couple of days later, I got a photograph of this one. Also, same place, the Wildcat Glades. And then this eastern bluebird, Missouri state bird. State bird for a couple other states, I believe, like New York, I think is another state that counts the bluebird as their state bird. And it's actually the backyard. This just a few days ago. And the same bluebird in different pose and different tree. Just kind of hanging out in the backyard, and it was actually male and female both. And anyways, that's the pictures. If anybody's got any questions, I'll go ahead and answer those. Anyways, I also want to mention that I actually had a sale going on last weekend. I actually extended that sale to Monday. You can actually get 25% off any prints and wall art that's not combined with other offers or for merchandise or anything like that. It's just prints and wall art. And the prints I have, you can get the pictures that I have here, along with some other ones. I have them prints available here, like photo paper, which is the least expensive option if you're trying to look for an affordable option. I also have fine art paper. I also have canvas, metal, acrylic. Acrylic is basically where you have a piece of kind of like real clear plastic over it, and really gives basically really highlights the photograph. And then I also have wood as well. And then also glass prints too, where it's printed directly on the glass. The canvas, metal, acrylic, and wood and glass prints, they actually come with a hanger on the back to be able to hang them, so you don't need to worry about like a frame or anything for them, or having them matted or anything like that. I also have like sign prints, which will take a little longer, but that is also another option if you want to sign print. And again, you can use coupon code DOGDAYS23 to get 25% off. That's good until Monday. And you can use that coupon code at checkout, and that will give you a 25% off any prints and wall art. Anyways, if there's not any comments or questions, I'll go ahead and end it here. Plan to also do this live on Facebook for Sunday. So if you want, join me then. And in the meantime, have a good evening.